Aloha, it's Antonio with HypnosisProductReviews.com. Today I've got a very special friend and guest, Raina Dan, all the way from Santa Cruz, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. Santa Cruz is I'm not sure if it's still a hotbed for hypnosis and NLP, but that's pretty much the birthplace of it.
That's right.
Release of NLP.
Right.
No,
University of California. Yes.
Exactly. Had Bandler and all those wild and crazy guys back in the day.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to meet Raina about a year ago. Funny story. One of my friend's daughters was on a flight coming to Kauai from the mainland. She met Raina, and Raina told her she was doing a hypnosis training, so I knew I had to meet her. Went and I checked out, I think, maybe 2 or 3 days of her class. Absolutely loved her training style. Very humanistic, heart-centered approach. Not like some trainers that are just trying to churn and burn stuff out. So I was really drawn to it. And I discovered that she uses a process known as core transformation, which I have always been really drawn to. Now, can you describe what core transformation is?
Sure. Core transformations really invites you to identify any old behaviors or beliefs or feelings or responses inside yourself that you don't like, and it gives you the opportunity to heal and to transform old limiting beliefs, thoughts, feelings. It's a 10-step process that's very, very sequential and easy to learn, and it's uplifting, remarkable journey.
The funny story, I don't know if I have my books laying around here, but I have a book from Connie Ray Andreas, the lady who co-developed it with her sister.
Right.
And I actually, I remember I ordered the book because I'm a self-hypnosis junkie. I love all kinds of personal development. So I got the book, and I just thought to myself, I'm like, let's have a thought experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost went into the experience of who cares if it works. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in, like, this has to work, it has to be by the book. So I didn't really have any expectations going into it. And the change I had was maybe really minor to somebody else, but for me it was earth-shattering. It sounds cliche, it was very earth-shattering. Long story short, I've always had a fear of really irrational fear. Most fears are irrational.
Mm-hmm.
If I was in the bathroom and if the shower curtain was closed, I would get this thought of, like, what if there's a serial killer on the other side, where I know it's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. But I would get like a real bad heart palpitation. And I think this might have happened. So we had a neighbor, I think it was maybe 5 or 6. We had a neighbor that was killed in a really horrific manner by the guy's new girlfriend. And I think I might have always kind of held on to fears from that. So I went into the process of trying to alleviate the real bad phobic and the fear response. Mm-hmm. Say it took half hour, 45 minutes, completely gone. Like I had to test myself a couple of times. It was almost like I almost wanted to make the fear come back. Like, so I've had this fear ever since I was, I don't know, 10 maybe. Mm-hmm. And it was weird going from having this fear for like 20, 30 years, all of a sudden, boom, vanish. I mean, that's how effective this process is. And it's usually better if you have somebody that can use a process on you and you can learn that way. And if I could create that change in myself with no guidance, just imagine, I figured, I'm like, what could I do if I actually had somebody guiding me?
Right. That's true. It's helpful when someone really holds the space and allows you to open up to those more unconscious feelings.
No.
Like said, the problem is the unconscious is unconscious. And so often when those fears come from that deeper place, we're not aware of where they come from, yet the unconscious knows. So we need to go deeper inside. Milton Erickson said, if the conscious mind could have figured it out, it would have, but it hasn't. So we have to go to the subconscious to get that information. And you did, and you healed it.
Oh, definitely. It was as minor as that sounds, it was almost also like a fear of the dark. As minor as it sounds to somebody else, it's like, that's a silly fear. I think, well, as humans, we tend to see somebody else's fears as, oh, it's a silly fear. Or if maybe a guy is if he's scared to go talk to some girl that he thinks is cute, we might see that as, as not as a minor fear, but it's because we have the objective experience where we're pulled out and we're looking at somebody's experience. But when we're actually in the experience, it's hard to get that objectivity because you're so wrapped up in the emotion.
Right.
Raina and I, we have discussed about bringing the core transformation workshop to Kauai. Mm-hmm. Now, in my opinion, this process can be used on all sorts of ailments, be it maybe physical ailments. You might have seen it. I haven't used anything physical, but I know emotional, spiritual things. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of about spiritual, can you talk about how this process is almost, it's not really, it's hard to describe. It's got a spiritual aspect of it. It's not completely dominated by a spiritual aspect. It seems like the spiritual aspect just kind of develops out of it.
A very natural, organic way. It takes you into very sublime core states of oneness or a beingness or of unconditional love or of just feeling okay just the way you are, or presence or stillness.
Wholeness.
Yeah.
You know,
and it just puts you there in a very natural way. There's no belief system involved, but it's just your own personal inquiry that puts you into those altered states.
It's funny, is actually from that session, you and I did that session. Mm-hmm. It was about 2 months ago, and I've gotten some great results out of it. I actually had the notes sitting around here. When I was looking at the notes, they're talking about like the core states that I had were a state of I think it was wholeness, mm-hmm. and peace, and I think a little bit of love in it. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about this process, it makes everything really easy to deal with. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty simple process.
It is. It's very well. Connie Ray and her sister Tamara mapped out a beautiful way, very, very systematic, 10-step process. And it's an exquisite opportunity to work on your own self, have your own tools to do your own self-inquiry. And it's also a beautiful way to get together with a friend and take them through it. It's very ecological, very balanced, and it just feels good. It's a process that makes you feel alive and vibrant and more self-empowered.
And the thing I like about it is maybe you can explain this word to people if they don't know what it means, but like a generative change, meaning generative means that it branches out. Generative means that it branches out to all aspects, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like an example of that, when I use this process to get rid of my debilitating fear of the dark, really silly fear of it's kind of funny to think about it now, but when I worked on that fear, I found other things happening where my I had a lot of nightmares, those vanished. Uh-huh. Got to sleep easier at night. Insomnia started to vanish. And some of the stresses at work vanished. Another thing I found out is it helped to push me away from the job I was at. I was at a very toxic job doing timeshare on the south side of here on Kauai. And this process, even though it was one little change I was working on, it went out to every aspect of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. It was really true. I worked with one client the other day, and she had a fear of flying, and took it to a higher level, and now she's going to be flying to Bali and really excited about it. It just dissolved the fear completely. And it's beautiful because it really incorporates a lot of the components of NLP in a very gentle and organized way. So you don't even have to know another system of hypnosis or NLP to use this process. Anybody can use it, which is really lovely. If you can read, you can do the process.
That's a good thing about it. It's it's an easy process, and if you can learn to meditate, everybody can meditate. It's just you close your eyes and do it. If you can get into a daydreamy state, you can use this process.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what for people that haven't experienced a training with you or a workshop with you, what can they expect to experience in on these 2 days?
Well, I like to teach very experientially. So I work a lot with getting people to jump in and really start practicing right away. So I will give some introductions, and often I'll start with a trance to help people kind of settle in and ground into their own being. And then give a little bit of an overview of the process itself. And then we'll go right, chunk it down into the next step of what needs to happen. And the first thing is then figuring out what kind of issue or belief or pattern or habit or feeling or negative reaction that you want to resolve over the weekend. And so we just start right on Saturday morning, beginning to look at what the issue is and where you feel it in your body, and then asking what the positive purpose is of it. Because I believe that behind every behavior, every thought, every feeling, there is a purpose. It's trying to do something for you that's positive. And so as we reframe it in that way, then we start becoming friends with that part that we don't like or been pushing away, to see that it really is trying to do something for us. It's just a matter of the way it's going about it we don't like. Even like an illness or an accident or getting angry with your boss or eating chocolate late at night, any of these old habits, there's a purpose underneath it. And so I think that's the first step in really healing, is to be able to recognize that it's trying to do something for us. And so we start saying, thank you.
You know, if there was no purpose behind a behavior, we wouldn't do it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yep. So that's what we're going to be doing, figuring out what you want to focus on, and then just finding a partner and sitting with your partner. And then I have some very specific questions for you to ask, and it just takes you step by step. And then you get back together again as a group, and we discuss that first piece, and then discuss second step, and then the third step, and just kind of evolves like that. So by Sunday, then you have the whole 10-step process that you can run through. The process takes anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and a half, kind of depending on each person's process.
And the thing I like about this, for anybody that's meditated, it's essentially it's a form of mindfulness meditation, in my opinion. You become really mindful of the parts of you. When I say parts, I might say, let's say if this were a beer, which I actually quit drinking, but let's say if I had a problem with drinking, I'd have a part of me that wanted me to drink. And I might have a part of me that would say, hey, I don't want you to drink.
Right.
And the idea is you become mindful of these parts and what these what the benefits they want and what they want for you. Mm-hmm. And with core transformation, what I think it goes beyond NLP is it adds the spiritual aspect to it.
It does. It really does. It takes it from the head into the heart, and from the heart, then you go deeper into your being and the essence of who you really are. That's the beauty of it. It really takes it to a transpersonal place.
Yeah. Speaking of going deep, I remember when was it 2 months ago we were doing that session. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I remember I was really going into nice deep kind of meditative trance. She was guiding me through the process. And I remember she asked a question, and that's when I kind of popped out. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I went really deep. Yeah. For the longest time, I had a hard time going into deep trances via self-hypnosis or somebody was guiding me. Mm-hmm. With core transformation, it engages your unconscious in ways that I haven't seen. That I haven't seen other processes do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to have someone holding the space for you too, with compassion and curiosity to discover what could happen next. It's a lovely thing to share with a friend. It's my idea of a good time,
Oh yeah.
Processing through and going on this remarkable healing, uplifting journey together.
It is a really, actually I'm kind of lighting up with it. It was funny, before we talked about this, we said how this violet was good for me. It brings out the best of my personality. I'm actually starting to light up and starting to smile, where I remember like how good it feels With this process, I've found it helps to bring your authentic self out, because you've got your. I tell people you've got yourself here. You've got all this the layers of BS, and this process. It's not a magic cure. Don't get me wrong. It's not overnight. It's a process. It's a journey.
That's right.
When people talk about wanting to, I think there's a difference between working on something versus working through something.
Mm-hmm.
Working on something, it sounds too mechanical, but when you're working through something, it's a full body experience, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, that's a good distinction. I like that. And it's true that some of the issues that you bring forth, it could be a habit, you're choosing to change, or a relationship issue. It's not that you're going to get that instant, and you could, yet it's a journey, and you're continuing to learn more about yourself, and you find you have more choices in those moments. And what I really love about this process is not just something that happens on the weekend, but it's really future pacing it into your entire life. And then you see how would this affect you on Monday morning when you go to work, and see yourself now carrying it 3 weeks from now with this new choice and this new belief. How is it for you? Now see yourself 5 years from now. And it's really future pacing it out into your life, and visualizing it happening and allowing it to happen and moving in that direction. So we're directionalizing the unconscious mind. We're saying, this is the direction we're going with. This is the new choice. You find yourself in the refrigerator at night and you go, no, this is not where I want to be, And so you have those unconscious support when you plant those seeds in the weekend workshop.
And folks, this is going to be a powerful weekend workshop. So we're going to be doing it. Dates again are, you have those written down? What are the dates again? September 23rd and 24th?
September. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then if you look below this video, if you're on my website, hypnosisproductreviews.com, if you look below this video, I'll have a link to where you can sign up. And also, below this video, you'll see an area where you can put your name and your email in. And we'll give you instant access to a free hypnosis MP3 that will help you to start you on this journey. And we'll also give you some information about this workshop.
I'm excited about offering this this trance to take you into the first step of the process, and it'll show you how easy it is just to slide right into some of those core states of peace, of love, of inspiration and upliftment. And if you follow along with the words and just go into a light trance, you'll be able to take yourself there very, very easily. So I'm delighted to offer that, and trust that it might inspire you to join us for the weekend, because it's going to be fun. That's one of the really important things that in my teachings is, if we're not having fun, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And we bring a lot of joy and a sense of curiosity and exploration, and looking for the magic and the wonder of life and how that can nourish us. So it's I really develop a really fun kind of way for people to interact with each other and get to know each other, and share things that you wouldn't share with many people. But there's such a deep intimacy when you share your vulnerabilities. And that's what I love. It's my passion. It's what I love to do. So really,
believe me, I love this stuff. I have a website devoted to it.
Yeah.
What I know you're working on a venue. I'm not sure if you can talk about the venue. I know the venue you're talking about. Is that the one that has very serene, beautiful views?
Yeah, it's a beautiful property. Absolutely. Yep. It's just 5 minutes from the ocean, and just quiet. And well, all of Kauai is pretty amazing, but
yeah,
it's surrounded in acres of beauty. And I think it'll be a perfect place to walk the timeline of into your going back 7 generations and healing a pattern and bringing it forward into your future and out into the infinite. So there's a lot of land around that you'll be able to walk your timeline and experience the magic of taking what you do want into your life.
Now, for people that are not familiar with the idea of timeline, can we give a brief, I guess, description of the process from start to finish?
Of the timeline?
Or no, of core transformation.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. First, you start with an issue, a particular pattern you want to heal, or a choice that you want to change, or health crisis, or trauma that you've had, or a feeling of unworthiness, or procrastination or, basically the beauty of this work is it can be such a mundane, simple issue, or it can be a huge life issue. So it works on everything. That's the wild thing about it. No matter what your client brings to you or what you are working on yourself, you can bring it to this process and you will find amazing insights, realizations, and a shift in your inner world. So we begin with a presenting issue, and then we look to see what kind of significant process that might happen through it. We look for the positive purpose, and we take it deeper into the core states of higher and higher neurological levels, and reach that place of, we were talking about before, of okayness, of oneness, of peace, of feeling everything's okay just the way it is. And then we take it back to when this part first became part of us. And we just simply ask the unconscious, how old do you feel? Does this part feel? And sometimes it's a 3-year-old, sometimes it's a 7-year-old. It just sort of pops up in the consciousness. And then we attend to that part and help that part see that it's been responsible for this area in the person's life, and thank it for all it's done, and would it like some help? And so, it often says, yes, I need help. And so we grow that part up and give it the resources that it needed that it didn't have back then. So as it grows up and as it becomes more integrated inside, then we ask if there's any objections to just having this in an ongoing way, this new choice. And that's the opportunity to notice if there is another part that has something to say about, oh, I cannot, I'd be too expansive, or feel too good, not allowed to feel so good, or whatever the
objection
might be. So then we attend to that objection and go back again and find out what its positive purpose is and how we can move that energy through. And then, so that's like another part. And so we have these parts that we are healing and acknowledging, recognizing, appreciating all that they're doing. And then doing this timeline work where you go from the very before conception. It's really lovely. You go outside and you imagine your timeline, the past behind you and the present and future in front of you. And then you have your partner stand just before conception and imagine that the father and the mother timelines are behind them. And then we give the core beliefs, the new choices to mother, drop down, be mother, zoop, grow her up, and then drop down to father and give them to him, zoop. And then they have, at conception, you drop down into conception with these core beliefs, these new choices. Like, a new choice of I am loved, or I'm okay just the way I am. And then we carry that through, and you walk, actually physically get it in your physiology, and you walk it through time all the way to the present, and then take it into the future. It's very beautiful. It's amazing. It's an experience rather than. And
that's in a nutshell. I want to say something. When people hear about parts, metaphorical part, it took me a little while to understand this concept. It's if you're familiar with Virginia Satir, she did a lot of marriage, family counseling. She would have parts parties where she would have people imagine. I believe she'd have people imagine that it was like inner child work. Like you got your inner child, maybe you have an inner representation of your dad, your mom, and the parts parties were trying. It was like a reconciliation, trying to get all parts working together.
Right. Yes, that's right. That's what it is.
I look forward to this workshop. I always love a good excuse to go out and play with some trance.
Yeah. It's nice. You can do it in trance or in standing in full embodiment. Eyes open. You can do it with eyes closed. It's got a lot of variations on the theme that we play with.
Yeah, I've never had a bad core transformation experience.
Really? Yeah. That's right. You can't get it wrong. Yeah.
Now, so keep in mind with this, seating's going to be limited to this. What's the capacity of the place? Maybe 10 people.
Yeah, 10, 12. Uh-huh.
And I know you want to keep it small, so you don't want to have it too big. You want to be able to give your as much of your attention to everybody.
Right. Yes. And a couple of my assistants will be coming with me from California, so it will be well attended to. Yeah.
So for this workshop, we've talked about having two prices: the normal rate and the early bird price. What are the prices that we've worked about?
Well, for the training itself, it's $350, and for early bird, it's $299 if you register before September 1st.
That's a smoking deal, and that's the salesperson, the marketer, and me coming out. Honestly, folks, for that price of $350, that's if you don't jump on the early bird. It's still a great deal. Keep in mind, the early bird, you can get it down to $299 if you register before September 1st. Keep in mind, the older we get, we think we have a lot more time than we do. Time whips by, so definitely jump on the early bird price as soon as you can.
Also, I'd like to say that I really like setting up support groups after a weekend workshop so people can have the continuing support and ongoing process of change. So I set up this system called the Mastermind Principle, where 4 or 5 people get together and really support one another with their goals and dreams and aspirations that inspire them. So that's also part of the training. That is it's a really beautiful way to stay connected.
Okay, and so that comes free with the training, right?
Yeah. It's a natural and organic process that happens, and people come together and really they can practice the process itself and also do the mastermind principle, which I'll be teaching.
And that mastermind principle, like I it's funny. I actually know people that do masterminds for internet marketing, and some of the high end people, and they charge a ton of money. I've seen masterminds go from especially for high end business, go from $25,000 and up. And the reason people can charge so much for a mastermind is it's a collective mind where it gets everybody, it gets how do you say it, the spark of creativity flowing through everybody.
Yes, it's true. It's amazing. I teach hypnosis trainings, and I set up mastermind groups after the workshops are happening, and people are together for 5 to 7 years after the training. It's quite amazing, the friendships that are developed and the support that you can have through the beautiful intimacy of the mastermind principle, which says when 2 or more gather together, there's actually a third force that comes in and supports your visions. And there's a magic that happens with that. And the commitment that people make to supporting one another is very, very beautiful.
So it's not just this weekend. Let me put it this way. You're not just investing in the weekend. You're investing in a long-term relationship with yourself, your unconscious, and everybody else that happens to partake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautifully said. Yes.
Man, why can't I have these beautiful metaphors coming out when I do hypnosis all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody, look forward to meeting up with everybody. Once again, it's September 23rd, 24th, and the early bird ends September 1st. So let's get some going.
That we are going to be doing a free introduction to the work so that we can meet and see if it's something you really want to dive into. Although you probably would have already made your commitment, I'd love to invite you to we'll do a Thursday evening smaller group gathering to meet and see if it's something you'd be interested in.
And it's funny you bring that up. Let's say, I'm not sure what the policy would be with this, but let's say somebody, they sign up and then they come to the Thursday or Friday, whatever, before the workshop. And let's say if they discover it's not something for them, can they can they get a refund? Let's say if they're like, you know what, this isn't for me.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you want you to be happy and enjoy it, and it be something that would really resonate with your core of your being. Yes.
So
Opportunity to experience it and see if it's right for you. So it's kind of a no risk situation then.
So we're putting all the skin in the game.
Yeah.
we're putting the money up. So and the reason that we're confident enough of putting our money up and putting our skin in the game is I've experienced this firsthand. I know you've experienced it firsthand, and we're confident that you're going to walk away a changed person.
Absolutely. And happier and inspired and feel like you've got something solid that you can use for no matter what situation you're in. Pretty amazing. You get stuck anywhere along the way. You have a process to get yourself unstuck.
And you can have an awesome support network.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, this has been great. So let's see, September 23rd, 24th. If you look below this video, if you're on my website, hypnosisproductreviews.com, you'll see an email form. Put your name, your email. You get a free hypnosis MP3 from Raina. Get instant access to that. That will give you a taste of the core transformation process. And somewhere below that, we should have a link. If you're that excited and you want to join right now, you can click the link and you can sign up.
Thank you, Antonio. It's going to be fun.
I look forward to seeing you again.
Right.
Aloha. I'll see everybody soon.